Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're taking a deep look into, well, the hidden logic of our own memories, especially the ones tied to other people.
Hmm.
I mean, why is it that the face of someone who is just profoundly unkind or rude or even just, annoying,
Right.
why does that face seem to be instantly accessible in your mind while the face of that genuinely kind stranger who helped you last week? It just feels like trying to grab smoke.
It's one of those deeply frustrating features of our internal operating system, isn't it?
Yeah,
You might feel like you're just a pessimistic person because your brain seems to latch onto the negative.
exactly.
But the truth, based on the research we've looked at, is purely a matter of neurological priority. It's not a moral failing.
So today we're diving into how the brain decides which memories get filed in the, let's call it the instant recall emergency folder.
And which ones get placed into that much larger, but, easily forgotten general observation archive.
Our mission then is to really dissect this frustration. We want to understand the scientific architecture behind why we prioritize negative social memories, specifically why that mean face gets encoded so much faster and so much more vividly than a kind one.
Right. We're unpacking the whole mechanism.
We are. We're going to reveal that involuntary, highly efficient emergency file system in your skull.
And it's important to remember this is all rooted firmly in human evolution. It's a mechanism that has kept us alive for millennia, even if today, in our modern world, it sometimes feels like a huge inconvenience.
A bug instead of a feature.
Exactly. The findings show why certain negative information, especially when you attach it to a face, becomes immediately and permanently, well, sticky.
So let's start there with that gut-level experience that I think probably brought you to this deep dive. Think about someone who disappointed you. Maybe someone who cut you off on the freeway or delivered a really scathing comment.
Mm-hmm.
How quickly does their face, their expression, that whole memory just flash into your mind?
Instantly, for most people.
Now, try to conjure the face of the most pleasant, kind person you saw last week. Chances are the negative one just snaps into focus.
While the positive one requires genuine mental effort to retrieve, it gets hazy.
That gap, that huge difference in accessibility, is not a failure of character.
No, it's the negativity bias in full swing.
Okay, let's define this powerful force right away. This rapid, almost involuntary recall of negative faces. It points directly to what scientists call the negativity bias.
It's one of the most fundamental concepts in cognitive psychology and neuroscience, really. In simple terms, the negativity bias just means the brain automatically assigns significantly greater weight, more importance, more urgency to negative information.
Way more than it does to positive or even neutral information.
Exactly. It's not an even playing field.
That sounds inherently unbalanced, though. If you didn't know the reason, you might just assume the human brain is built for constant pessimism.
You would, absolutely. And a lot of people feel that way. But you're arguing, based on the material we have, that this isn't about being gloomy at all. It's about being robust.
Being safe.
Precisely. The core function of this bias is protection. The brain's number one priority is not happiness.
It's survival.
It's survival. It operates first and foremost as a security system, and a deeply, deeply ancient one at that.
So if we rewind human history, 50,000 years,
Right.
why was remembering the negative face so much more important than remembering the friendly one?
The evolutionary context makes this crystal clear. Back then, survival was, well, it was precarious. If you encountered a face that signaled danger, someone aggressive, someone who had betrayed your group, or someone who posed a physical threat,
Yeah.
your ability to instantly recognize and avoid that person the next day was literally life or death. Your nervous system had to prioritize the data point that read threat.
So remembering which berry bush was poisonous or which clan leader was untrustworthy,
Critical.
that was a critical use of precious cognitive resources.
Yeah.
Remembering a beautiful sunset or the gentle curve of a river
Mm.
that just wasn't a priority for basic survival.
Exactly. The nice, gentle face was pleasant, maybe comforting, but it didn't activate the immediate alarm system necessary to keep you alive. The danger was the thing that demanded instantaneous, high-fidelity memory encoding.
And that's why we see this bias playing out even in modern, low-stakes interactions today.
Absolutely. Think about feedback at work. You might get 10 positive reviews on a project, but that one piece of negative criticism, that sharp comment,
Oh, that's the one you dwell on all weekend.
that's the one. Or look at social media. Researchers consistently find that negative, emotionally charged content spreads faster and gets more clicks than positive content.
Because our brains are wired to pay attention to potential problems.
Right. Bad news sells because our threat detection system, the negativity bias, guarantees we will pay attention to it.
Which helps explain why we struggle so much with rumination.
Mhm.
Our brains are just executing their primary programming, trying to analyze a threat.
Over and over again.
But let's move from the abstract concept of the bias to the concrete neurological hardware that's running the show. If evolution created this bias, what's the actual structure in our brain that executes that threat protocol?
And here's where it gets really interesting, because we can move into the brain's emergency filing system.
Hmm.
The key player here is a very small, very ancient structure, the amygdala.
The amygdala.
Yes. The sources we looked at repeatedly identify the amygdala as the center of fear. It's essentially your brain's instant, non-negotiable security guard.
I always pictured the amygdala as being involved in, general emotions, but this research really highlights its specialization in rapid threat detection.
It is specialized, and critically, it's fast. That is the difference maker. When a face or a situation signals danger, the amygdala initiates its action before your conscious, deliberate thought even occurs.
Before you can think about it.
It completely bypasses the slower, more analytical parts of the cortex, the sophisticated front parts of your brain that handle deliberation and reason and context.
So if I see a frightening face, I don't consciously process, this person seems like a threat. I should probably file this memory away for later.
No.
The amygdala has already hit the record button.
That's exactly right. The amygdala acts like an instantaneous high-priority interrupt. Imagine your brain as a large, beautiful library, right? That's the cortex. That's where you file memories that require context and effort.
Okay.
But the amygdala is a tiny, separate emergency closet with a dedicated, non-erasable flash drive. If danger comes up, it doesn't wait for the librarians, your conscious thought, to file the report.
It just acts.
It immediately stores the threatening image, that negative face, in this specialized, prioritized location.
That analogy of the dedicated flash drive versus the general library is perfect. So the mean face is never filed in the general archive.
Yeah.
It's filed under urgent, immediate warning.
Precisely. And the purpose of this immediate high-priority storage is pure efficiency. The brain needs to send a clear, rapid message upon any future encounter.
A message that just says, warning, potential harm.
Be careful of this person. This rapid encoding is how the threat becomes what the sources call firmly established or entrenched in your memory. It guarantees that even a fleeting glimpse of that person in a crowd triggers your guard instantaneously.
But this immediate high-voltage filing system for threats raises a big question. If the amygdala is so obsessed with rapid threat encoding, does that mean positive information, like kindness or beauty, is fundamentally weaker in terms of sheer neural impact?
That's the critical trade-off we see. This is where we get to the section on why kindness fades. And yes, positive memory encoding tends to be neurologically much less urgent.
So we see a powerful contrast in the processing speeds.
A huge contrast. And that explains the memory imbalance you experience every single day.
So walk us through the processing of a kind face. It still registers, right? I mean, we notice it.
It registers, of course, but it doesn't trigger the high alert security system. Faces that we see as beautiful, kind, or gentle. They pose absolutely no danger to our survival. They might promote social bonding or comfort, which are important, but they are not crucial to avoiding immediate harm or death.
So because there's no danger, the amygdala just stays quiet. That little flash drive in the emergency closet remains empty.
Essentially, yes. They receive no emergency status. The sources really emphasize that while these positive encounters are noted, they are, and this is a direct quote, not registered strongly.
Not registered strong.
Because they don't get that intense, rapid, amygdala-driven emotional tag, they have to go through the slower cortical filing system, the main library.
And that must be why positive memories so often feel like they require repetition or conscious effort to retain. Like you have to deliberately think about that beautiful moment for it to actually stick.
That's exactly what's happening. A threat is immediate, it's crucial, and it becomes entrenched through that non-conscious emergency file.
It's automatic.
But beauty or kindness, on the other hand, is treated merely as a gentle observation. It's a low-priority note. If you don't deliberately rehearse it, pay focused attention to it, or attach multiple contexts to it, it is so much more vulnerable to just decaying.
So it's sitting in the general library waiting to be properly filed.
While the mean face has already been stapled to the front of the entire database.
That paints such a stark picture of the brain as survival mechanism. It's incredibly efficient, but it's not necessarily geared toward helping us find joy, is it?
No, it really synthesizes into a surprisingly blunt conclusion about our default programming. The overall outcome of the negativity bias is that the brain, operating primarily as a survival machine, is wired in a way that prioritizes saving evil.
Evil meaning any potential threat or danger.
Yes, exactly. It prioritizes saving that over easily saving good, meaning beauty or kindness. It's a pragmatic evolutionary imperative. It's not personal.
So the next time that face of the person who annoyed you 5 years ago just pops into your head out of nowhere,
Yeah.
you can remind yourself that your brain is just doing its job. It's an ancient survival program operating flawlessly through the amygdala's emergency filing system.
That's the important context to have. We benefit every single day from the speed of that mechanism, even if it means positive memories often feel so ephemeral.
It's the ultimate evolutionary trade-off, isn't it? We gain this rapid, life-saving detection of threat at the cost of easily losing the memory of small, quiet acts of kindness.
And that knowledge, I think, should change how we approach living. It gives us a new responsibility.
Which leaves us with a pretty provocative final thought, connecting back to that core idea that threat is entrenched, while beauty is only a gentle observation.
Hmm.
If our brains are designed by millennia of evolution to immediately lock onto danger and prioritize the negative, what conscious, intentional effort must we, as modern humans, expend to ensure we give the same powerful memory priority to the positive and beautiful moments in our lives?
If the survival mechanism makes the negative sticky automatically, we realize that making the positive sticky, well, that requires deliberate intention.
It requires work.
It requires attention and maybe even ritual to overcome that ancient, powerful bias.
Something for you to consider as you go through your day. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.